This video is sponsored by Enlisted, but more about them later. When you look at LEGO sets today, you will quickly discover that LEGO finds a lot of creative uses and designs for various weapons. Although fantasy themes such as Star Wars, Ninjago, and Marvel are packed with explosives, blasters, and other various weapons, there's one place that you'll never see a LEGO gun: in LEGO City. Yup, despite the seemingly astronomical crime rate in town, neither the criminals nor the police seem to carry any sort of firearm. But there's actually a deeper reasoning behind this. LEGO has a very weird past when it comes to toy weapons. You see, the typical minifigure weapons that LEGO does include in sets, such as blasters or ray guns, are set in fantasy, imaginary setting worlds such as the Star Wars universe, rather than accurate depictions of real-life weaponry and military-style vehicles. And this isn't an accident. It's actually a very intentional design on behalf of LEGO and a key part of the philosophy of the company's founder, Ole Kirk Christensen. Ole Kirk was born in Denmark in 1891, and like much of his generation, witnessed firsthand the horrors of World Wars I and II. In the years after World War I, Ole Kirk founded LEGO as a company that made wooden toys. During the 1930s and 1940s, LEGO made and sold several types of wooden toy guns. But by the mid-1940s, things had changed and World War II was in full swing as Germany took control of Denmark. While Ole Kirk and his company survived World War II, many of his employees, friends, and family were less fortunate. These years shaped his entire philosophy and gave way to a stance that LEGO still has today: war should never be made to look like child's play. This phrase changed LEGO forever. In fact, when LEGO ditched its wooden toys and began creating plastic LEGO bricks, they didn't even include green bricks in the beginning so that kids would have a harder time making military builds. Now, LEGO first patented its plastic bricks in 1958, which coincidentally was the same year that Ole Kirk Christensen passed away and left the company to Gottfried Christensen. Over the first few decades, LEGO sets were primarily city buildings or small home scenes, like in the iconic Homemakers line. Not really any room for anything close to a weapon here, so no worries. By the 1970s, though, things were beginning to change, and in 1972 we got the very first police set, with set 354, the police heliport. At this point though, LEGO wasn't even making minifigures yet, so there was really never any chance of getting any sort of firearms. This Legoland Police line ran until 1977 with sets such as the Police Patrol set and the beginnings of minifigures, but these little guys didn't have hands. Yet. The next year, in 1976, we got what could be considered as LEGO's very first weapon. Set 210, Cowboys, comes with two, you guessed it, cowboys, that are built out of bricks and are in the old homemaker style. While one of them has a lasso, the other seems to be ready to draw from the hip with both hands. While those pieces are just two 1x2 black plates and could be something perfectly safe like horseshoes, it certainly seems like LEGO was starting to rethink its blanket no weapons allowed policy. By 1978 though, everything changed when LEGO introduced proper modern minifigures in lines such as LEGO Castle, with minifigures that were holding something peculiar: weapons. It seemed like LEGO realized that if you were going to be selling a theme based around knights, castles, and damsels in distress, then the characters needed something to actually fight with. While this might at first seem to go against Ole Kirk's original vision, the idea was that since these weapons and this setting were so distant from the modern era, that they are rooted in imagination and make-believe. No one could possibly compare knights fighting a dragon or storming a castle to the realities of modern 20th century warfare with tanks and planes, but you can experience that by playing Enlisted, today's sponsor. Enlisted is a first-person combat game that just released a massive update for PvP matchmaking, troop carriers to deploy teammates, and an improved progression system. Take command of your squadron of soldiers and lead them into battle. Complete campaigns that feature over 400 unique weapons, vehicles, and equipment largely inspired by key historical events and locations in World War II. Enlisted features accurate sounds and incredible details that will look good even on lower-end machines. The game contains a massive arsenal of equipment to unlock as you play, which keeps the game feeling new and fresh, and I really like the authenticity and accuracy of the soldier classes and uniforms. Get into the action and play Enlisted now for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox using my link in the description. If you're a new player on PC, you'll also receive a free bonus pack with weapons, 4,000 silver, and 3 days of premium account access. This offer is available for a limited time only, so act fast. There has never been a better time to explore the new age of Enlisted, so go click the link in the description now. Now back to the video. During the same year as LEGO Castle, LEGO launched the classic space theme, and many of these minifigures also seem to be packing some heat. Seriously, this guy has got to be sporting some kind of space rocket launcher, laser gun, or scanning device, right? Well, once again, this fantasy device is up for interpretation. I mean, even this piece, which is often called the quote space gun, is technically known by LEGO as quote a camera with side sight. Now, in 1989, the company would push the envelope even further with the release of the Pirates line. These sets featured swords as well as the very first guns that LEGO ever created, with cannons, pistols, and rifles that were certainly getting pretty close to modern weapons. Besides, picturing a battle on the high seas without the boom of cannon fire is, well, boring. A few years later, in 1996, LEGO released the Wild West line, which again brought even more modern firearms to LEGO sets. At this point though, the guns being included in these sets were so close to the real thing that they wouldn't have looked out of place in LEGO City, but the company held to its beliefs, for City at least. All of these sets were at least inspired by historical points in history, and that seemed like the end of it right up until 1999, when LEGO had to seriously reconsider its entire approach to weapons. 1999 saw the release of the very first LEGO sets released under a license from another company. LEGO Star Wars sets changed a lot about how LEGO handled almost everything, from minifigure skin tones, head molds, and yes, weapons. The thing about making sets based on an existing property is that you need to be as accurate as possible to what fans expect. And well, Star Wars is known for its grand battles. I mean, it's literally in the name. Suddenly, ships needed cannons, stormtroopers needed blasters, and Jedi needed lightsabers. Of course, Star Wars is a fantasy universe, so weapons in this theme passed LEGO's internal audit. Although this was very much making war look like play, LEGO seemed to be ready to embrace weapons in fantasy universes. The change and the new idea was something along the lines of fantasy and futuristic is okay, just nothing that could be considered real. Since then, LEGO has released multiple themes set across time and space that feature a wide range of weapons, some of which appear more modern than others. In 2006, LEGO began selling sets based on DC superheroes, and several of these villains needed something a little more than just a revolver to take on Batman. In addition to licensed sets, themes such as Ultra Agents, Monster Fighters, and Ninjago have continued to up the arsenal of LEGO heroes and villains alike. But even today, there are still no guns in LEGO City sets. Granted, there's loads of dynamite, but no firearms. But yet, LEGO did cancel this LEGO City set, which would have featured a Crook's lair with a massive stick of dynamite on top. I guess this idea was a little bit too much. But you see, with the introduction of more modern weapons to LEGO sets, the exact nature of what is and what isn't allowed has continued to confuse fans. After all, why did LEGO release 2 World War I planes over 10 years? In 2002, we got the Red Baron set, which was an incredibly accurate recreation of the famous German pilot's plane. And in 2012, LEGO released the Sopwith Camel, another biplane fighter aircraft first introduced in 1917 during World War I. Now, while these sets definitely fall under LEGO's historical accuracy banner, it's hard to fit them in with Ole Kirk's original ideals. He lived through World War I and would have known full well just how deadly some of these war machines could be. As it stands in 2024 though, LEGO's documentation bans modern military weapons and vehicles, in which the LEGO Group specifically defines modern as World War II to present day. Now, around the time of LEGO's World War I planes, we got another LEGO theme that fell within the gray zone of LEGO's modern military claims. But real quick, if you enjoy my videos, please take a second to subscribe. My New Year's resolution is to hit 1 million subscribers, and we're getting really close. I really appreciate the support. Now, the slightly dubious LEGO theme in question is Indiana Jones. Why? Well, although Indiana Jones is a fictional character, these sets also featured accurate depictions of World War II military jeeps, motorcycles, and guns. We even got a set based entirely around the scene where Indy shoots a man in the middle of the street with the ambush in Cairo build. Although LEGO claims that World War II is off limits, Indiana Jones is characterized as licensed fantasy in LEGO's eyes, so apparently it can sneak by. However, the set that most blurs the lines between play and fantasy though comes from a theme that you'd never expect: Toy Story. Back in 2010, LEGO released a handful of sets based on the now classic Pixar film, and 2 of them certainly stuck out to longtime fans. The Army Jeep and the Army Men on Patrol featured Vietnam War-era soldiers in green uniforms with guns driving a green Jeep. Although Toy Story is a fictional universe, the inclusion of weapons in this set is certainly strange. In fact, when Burger King released Army Men toys in their kids' meals as a promotion back in the day, they only chose figures without weapons. So at this point, a lot of fans were starting to ask questions about just how committed LEGO was to its founders' principles. After all, they had come a long way from the strict no-weapons policy of the 1960s. Sensing this, LEGO issued a formal statement in 2010 clarifying the company's position. While the full quote is quite long, a few key points are that LEGO, quote, acknowledges that conflict in play is especially prevalent among kids, and that children have a, quote, well-proven ability to tell play from reality. Honestly, it sounds pretty accurate. I mean, growing up, I was always creating massive battles for my own LEGO armies. LEGO did go on to say, though, that moving forward, the company would aim to, quote, avoid realistic weapons and military equipment that children may recognize from hotspots around the world. So put into that perspective, things like World War I biplanes are quite unrecognizable for kids these days, but these guidelines are even reflected on the submissions page for the LEGO Ideas projects, where they specifically prohibit any warfare or war vehicles in any modern or present-day situation, as well as, quote, any large or human-scale weapons or weapon replicas. But there's still one set that got caught up in the struggle over just how far LEGO is willing to go with military hardware: the Boeing V-22 Osprey. This set has become truly legendary, but perhaps not for the right reasons. Based on the actual aircraft, this set was supposed to be released on August 1st, 2020, but just 10 days before this, LEGO suddenly announced that the product had been officially cancelled. This wasn't because of any issue with production or distribution. In fact, stores around the world had already received shipments, and some had even begun selling them early. The issue here was what this vehicle represented. The set was intended to show off what a search and rescue version of the V-22 might look like, and was officially licensed and partially designed by Boeing. However, here's the problem. The Osprey is currently only used by the military and has no civilian functions whatsoever. With that in mind, LEGO decided that the set violated its rules on modern military vehicles, though exactly how the project got all the way to store shelves is a story that has yet to be fully told. While these sets were never officially available for sale, some lucky people were able to snag one, and today these sets can sell for around $1,000. However, there's still one more issue with the Osprey that's worth mentioning, because this wasn't the first time that LEGO had ever released a similar version of this aircraft. In 2013, LEGO put out the Cargo Heliplane, and in 2014 we got the Creator 3-in-1 Twin Blade Adventures, both of which indirectly feature a similar aircraft to the V-22. So what's the difference? Well, it seems to be branding. As I mentioned earlier, the Osprey set was officially licensed by Boeing, making it a very real design that could be directly linked to militaristic operations, whereas the LEGO versions were simply generic designs that may or may not have been inspired by the real thing. And as a reminder, click the link in the description to play Enlisted for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox, and new PC players will also get a bonus pack, so go play today. But you see, LEGO makes some really weird decisions in their sets. Click here right now to see the weirdest instruction steps, and don't forget to tap that subscribe button for more LEGO videos.